Well, hello, it's Miss Gina, and you're at Miss Gina's Planet. You're at Gina's Planet, and today we're at Tipperary, County Tipperary, in Cahir, Ireland. Cahir Castle is behind me, and you can hear water in the distance at the castle. Mr. Grumpy. Who is Mr. Grumpy before we wake up sometimes? Maybe. Roger Hargreaves. It was a lovely summer evening. Mr. Grumpy was at home. Crosspatch Cottage. He sat down in an armchair and picked up a book. And then, do you know what he did? I didn't think so. We're gonna find out. I don't think it was good. He tore all of the pages out of it. Every one. Mr. Grumpy can't stand books. He has a shocking bad temper. In fact, he's quite the most bad-tempered person you can imagine. Grumpy by name and even more grumpy by nature. Oh dear, all the pages. The following morning, he was out in his garden pulling up flowers. He couldn't stand pretty flowers growling in the garden when out in the corner of his eye, he saw a figure. Flowers. He's tearing up all the flowers. It was Mr. Happy. Mr. Happy. Good morning, said Mr. Happy. Good, said Mr. Grumpy. What's good about it? But, said Mr. Happy. But nothing, went on Mr. Grumpy. Get out of my garden. I beg your pardon, said Mr. Happy. You heard me, snapped Mr. Grumpy. Go away, I say, laughed Mr. Happy. You are a bad-tempered fellow. Humph, grunted Mr. Grumpy. And went on, Mr. Happy, bad-tempered fellows need to change their ways. Mr. Happy's telling Mr. Grumpy he needs to change his ways. I bet he wouldn't like it if he tore the pages out of his book. No. Rubbish, retorted Mr. Grumpy, and went into his cottage, deliberately stepping on Mr. Happy's foot. As he passed him, ouch, said Mr. Happy. Bang went the door of Crosspatch Cottage as Mr. Grumpy slammed it behind him. Oh, ouch. Mr. Happy hurt his foot. Mr. Grumpy stepped on Mr. Happy's foot. Mr. Happy stood there looking not quite as happy as he normally does. His foot hurt. He thought and thought and thought some more. Then he had an idea. He smiled and went to see Mr. Tickle. Mr. Happy told Mr. Tickle of his idea of how to get Mr. Grumpy to change his ways. And Mr. Tickle grinned. And the sort of grin that goes from ear to ear. One of those grins. That is, if you have ears, which he doesn't. Oh, he grinned, rubbing the hands at the end of those extraordinarily long arms of his together. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. That afternoon, Mr. Grumpy went to town shopping. He walked into Mr. Meat's shop. Mr. Meat was a butcher. Give me some sausages, snapped Mr. Grumpy. And be quick about it. Poor Mr. Meat who was frightened of Mr. Grumpy, did as he was told. But as he was doing as he was told, something appeared through his shop doorway. Do you know what it was? Do you know? I don't know either. Let's find out. Is that what you thought it was? It was an extraordinarily long arm belonging to, well, you can guess who it belonged to, can't you? The extraordinarily long arm of Mr. Tickles came in through the door and across the shop and up to Mr. Grumpy and tickled him. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Oh, squeaked Mr. Grumpy in alarm, dropping his sausages and looking round to see what had happened. But could he see anything? He could not. He could not. Humph, grunted Mr. Grumpy and picked up his sausages and went next door to the cake shop. Crash went the door of the shop. Crash. Give me a cake, snapped Mr. Grumpy, and hurry up. Poor Mrs. Fairy, who sold cakes, was frightened at Mr. Grumpy, so she did as she was told. But as she was doing as she was told, guess what happened? Oh, squeaked Mr. Grumpy, dropping his cake and his sausages. He just could not understand what was happening. He couldn't understand. What's got him? Uh-oh, that looks like Mr. Tickle's hand. And the same thing happened at Mr. Daly's, the newspaper shop, and Mrs. Humbug's, the sweet shop, and at Mr. Bottle's dairy, and at Mr. Packett's, the grocer's. It went on all afternoon. Oh no, he kept dropping his things. Oh no. And all afternoon, Mr. Grumpy kept being tickled and dropping his shopping and picking it up again, and being tickled and dropping his shopping and picking it up again, and being tickled and dropping his shopping, and he just could not understand it. It happened over and over and over again. Uh-oh. On the way home to Crosspatch Cottage, he met Mr. Happy again. Hello, grinned Mr. Happy. Having a nice day? Get out of my way, snapped Mr. Grumpy, before I kick you. But almost before the words had passed his lips, that extraordinarily long arm of Mr. Tickles had appeared from behind a tree and tickled him yet again. He jumped in the air and dropped all of his shopping yet again and fell over. Mr. Happy looked at Mr. Grumpy lying amid a jumble of sausages and cake and newspapers and sweets and milk and cornflakes. He dropped his cornflakes. I think, he laughed, that if you were to change your ways and be not quite so bad-tempered quite so often, this sort of thing might not happen to you quite so often. Humph, grunted Mr. Grumpy. He picked up all of his shopping yet again and went home to Crosspatch Cottage. But on his way, he did think about what Mr. Happy had said, because he very definitely did not like what had happened to him that afternoon. Mr. Happy and Mr. Tickle laughed and shook hands. And so, after that, Mr. Grumpy did not try to be, rinse, repeat. And so after that, Mr. Grumpy did try to be not quite so bad-tempered quite so often. And the more he tried, the less he found he was tickled, and so he tried more and more of these And these days, he's quite a changed person. Why, only the other evening, he picked up a book, and do you know what? He only tore out one page. One page. So that's good. That's progress. So Mr. Grumpy didn't tear all the pages out this time, just one. So I hope you had a great summer so far and that you read more and grow your brain this summer. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.